After being assaulted, abused, and kidnapped, one brave little girl managed to outsmart her attacker and survive a nightmare no child should live through. June 6, 2003 was a typical day in San Jose, California, when Jeannette Tamay, age 9, hopped off the school bus and arrived home. She noticed the screen door of her house was ajar, but assumed her mother had simply come home early and thought nothing of it. However, when she went to her bedroom, Jeannette saw that her window was broken, as if someone had smashed through the glass, and she immediately ran to the phone to call her mother. To her misfortune, the cable has been cut. Suddenly, there was a knock, and Jeannette found herself face to face with a strange man behind the screen door. She opened the door, but was soon overcome with feelings of discomfort and suspicion and attempted to close it again. But the man was far stronger than the little girl and forced his way inside, grabbing Jeannette and dragging her to her older brother's room. On her brother's bed, the man sexually violated Jeannette for a grueling 30 minutes. She later described the horrific assault, stating, "He threw me on the bed and took off my pants." When he was done, the man handcuffed Jeannette and tied her legs together, carrying her out to his car parked in the garage. As the man struggled to open the garage door more than a few inches off the floor, another vehicle pulled up outside. It was Jeannette's mother's car. Determined to protect his little sister, Jeannette's 15-year-old brother Paul leaped into action, crawling under the garage door and attacking the man with a screwdriver. The man instantly knocked the screwdriver from Paul's hand and punched him in the face repeatedly. The man dragged Paul's body inside the house, where he was met with Jeannette's mother, Rosalie, who attacked the man and managed to succeed in separating him from her son. Paul then grabbed a frying pan, which the man took from him, and used it to beat Rosalie into a bloody pulp. Jeannette explained, "I remember hearing my mom screaming and it went quiet. I couldn't hear much after that." The man returned to the garage and drove off with Jeannette in the car, cutting through some neighbors' bushes. Jeannette feared the worst, that he had killed her mother and brother, and when she asked the man, he just laughed. To her relief, Jeannette was able to fight through her restraints just enough to turn around, and she and the man sped away and the car, and through the window, she saw her mother and brother, bruised and bleeding, but still alive, running after the car and desperately screaming at some neighbors for help. As they continued to drive, Jeannette screamed and slammed her shoulder against the window, trying with everything she had to catch the attention of other drivers. But the man violently hit her with the screwdriver her brother had attacked him with, subduing the little girl. She slid out of his reach and laid down on the car floor, staring at the roof and thinking, "I'm not gonna make it. I'm gonna die." On the turbulent drive back, Jeannette made mental notes of every turn, memorizing them, so if she were to escape, she could make her way home. The man finally arrived at a large white house, parking his car in the garage. He picked up Jeannette and carried her up the stairs to a small locked room with a TV, a little window, and a bathroom, throwing her on the floor. Meanwhile, back at the house, the police had finally arrived. Rosalie refused to get into an ambulance, focused solely on explaining everything to the detective and officers, as her condition became more and more dire. The police forced her onto a stretcher, and she and her son were transported to a nearby hospital for treatment. Working with the little information they had, the police investigated the crime scene in search of clues. According to Detective Heather Randall, "I did notice in the garage was a lot of blood. I knew at that point this was a very violent crime. You start thinking, are we going to bring her home alive?" At first, Randall brought bloodhounds and a team of forensics to collect samples of the blood in the kitchen in order to potentially locate Jeannette or her kidnapper. But tragically, neither of the two were injured during the attack, and all of the blood belonged to Rosalie and Paul. Next, Detective Randall noticed a security camera on the neighbor's driveway and checked out the recent footage. After watching the video, Randall identified one moment in which the man's car was directly in front of the camera. Although his license plate was visible, the quality of the security footage was so poor that the officers couldn't make out any of the numbers or letters. Because of this, it was impossible to issue an Amber Alert about Jeannette, as statewide Amber Alerts in California are required to have either a license plate number or phone number connected to the criminal. Detective Randall notified the media in hopes that the public would try to help find Jeannette even without an Amber Alert. She gave a press conference to ensure everyone knew Jeannette's name and organized a team of helicopters equipped with loudspeakers calling out Jeannette Tamay. The city was covered with flyers featuring Jeannette's face. In captivity, Jeannette was subjected to horrific sexual abuse. After each rape, the man would handcuff her to the shower and leave the water running for some time so she could clean herself. Jeannette explained how these showers were her only moments of peace. It was when he didn't touch me, he wouldn't hurt me, or he wouldn't rape me. The next morning, while Jeannette watched the news on the little TV in her prison, her cousin appeared on screen, speaking to her, telling her to be strong. This filled Jeannette with a sense of strength and hope she thought she had lost. "I'm a fighter," Jeannette told herself. "I am going to make it." On the second day of the kidnapping, Jeannette hatched a plan. She began to make friendly conversation with her vile abuser, asking him casual questions about where he was from. She resisted the urge to spit in his face when he smiled at her, smiling back at him, and engaging in small talk to win him over. Jeannette asked the man if she could have a glass of water. He handcuffed her to the bed and left the room, trusting her alone in a place other than the bathroom for the first time since he brought her back to his house. The clever little girl then began to fidget with her handcuffs, which were mechanical and did not require a key. She managed to unlatch them, and in the small amount of time she had, she compiled a small collection of evidence to help law enforcement bring this man to justice should he kill her. This evidence included the man's watch, which he left on the nightstand, a toy turtle that man had given her to play with, and her underwear from the bathroom. Jeannette knew that underwear was important in sexual assault cases, as she was a fan of the popular show CSI: Law and Order. Just in time for the man to return with her glass of water, Jeannette handcuffed herself to the bed again, the evidence all in her pockets. On the third day, Jeannette continued to befriend her abuser. Seemingly warmed up to her, the man asked if she was hungry, and when she said yes, he gave her the phone to order a pizza. The pizza came with a flyer depicting Jeannette's face on the front, and the man told Jeannette that he would be getting rid of her tonight. While she was alone in the room, Jeannette stuffed all the evidence she had collected, including her underwear, into the pizza box and placed it under the bed, hidden from sight. Later, the man tried to smother Jeannette to death with a pillow, but with much effort, the little girl was able to turn her face to the side and breathe in just enough air to survive the traumatic ordeal. Giving up on suffocating her, the man handcuffed Jeannette and ordered her to get in his car, and they drove off. Once again, Jeannette made a mental note of every turn taken on the 30-minute drive. The man stopped outside a liquor store not far off the highway. Prepared to die, Jeannette asked where they were. The man grabbed her roughly by the hair and told her he was letting her go, threatening to kill her and her family if she dared tell anyone what he did or who he was. Barely able to process her luck, Jeannette sprinted out of the car and into the liquor store. The cashier instantly recognized Jeannette as the missing girl from the news and called 911. The police came rushing towards the liquor store, located in East Palo Alto, where they were overjoyed to find the missing girl. Jeannette informed the police that she could locate the house where she was held, and in the back of a squad car, she guided the officers, remembering the right and left turns that were made. The officers and their dogs raided the house, where they found the criminal, 23-year-old Enrique Sosa Alvarez, hiding in the attic. He was bitten viciously by the police dogs and taken into custody, where he was found guilty of 9 felony charges, including rape, battery, and robbery. In addition, the officers found the pizza box full of evidence that Jeannette had left under the bed. Jeannette was taken to the ER, where she was reunited with her mother and brother. Although Jeannette suffered from severe PTSD, and it took 6 years of therapy before she was able to comfortably leave her home, she had developed an unbreakable spirit after living through hell and coming out the other side alive. What do you think of Jeannette's courage? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this story interesting, Hit the subscribe button for more content.